Join us for our upcoming fundraiser, A Feast for the Senses, at Ardmore Music Hall on September 29th to help HRN expand our table and provide even more resources to the next generation of food storytellers. This is going to be an unforgettable night of flavors, crafted by Best of Philly chefs Randy Rucker and Eli Collins, with sounds curated by Philly-based Spaga, featuring Aaron Magner, and conversations inspired by Delicious City Philly host Eli Kulp. You can find tickets at heritageradionetwork.org/feast. And if you can't make it to our fundraiser, please consider donating to support our education programs at heritageradionetwork.org/donate.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Since 2009, HRN podcasts have been exploring the wide world of food, beverage, and agriculture. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
Westholme is working with the land to create nature-led Australian Wagyu. Westholme believes that when nature leads, flavor follows. Learn more at westholme.com.
We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes, finger on the pulse. Snacky Tunes.
Hello and welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm your host, Darren Bresnitz. Today we sit down with the co-owners of Ggiata, Max and Jack, and Noah in spirit, as we chat about their new location in Highland Park. We talk about their shared childhood love for Italian delis, growing up in New Jersey, and what drove them to open up a sandwich spot in Los Angeles. And then it's a deep dive into the archives when the duo sisters Zambri joined us to talk about the many incarnations of their band, their musical training, and how their Italian heritage developed their palate. And of course, as summer rolls on, please consider supporting HRN. Your donations, whatever you can afford, are greatly appreciated. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Snacky Tunes here on HRN. Max and Jack, welcome to Snacky Tunes. I know it's the lunch rush right now, and I was at the store yesterday, and it was absolutely slammed. So appreciate you stepping away, taking the time to chat. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us on. We're excited.
Big shout out to Noah, who couldn't join us today. The third guy of your triumvirate that runs Ggiata.
He's in our hearts and in our minds right now.
In our hearts and our minds. I've been out here in LA for almost 9 years now, and I feel like that the does LA have good sandwich bread conversation, it doesn't come up anymore. Like, no one really talks about it. Like, you can get a good bagel, you can get a good sandwich. And on the flip side, when a new sandwich spot opens up, I feel like few things get as much excitement as that. And I know you guys recently opened Highland Park. Why do you think people get so juiced on a new sandwich spot?
I mean, I think sandwiches are just pretty universal. I think everybody, no matter where you're from, has a place that they grew up going to that felt like, what our version of an Italian deli felt like in New Jersey. And I think it's just like, it's easy. It's usually quick. It's delicious. I think like sandwiches are just pretty universal.
I also think like it's kind of maybe partially the reason why we even opened Ggiata in the first place, which is like, I think as you've seen with Highland Park, like the community has had such an amazing response to that store opening, because I think people really felt like that was a need there. Like every day we're in the Highland Park store right now, we're meeting people that are from the East Coast, and they're like, man, York has just needed the neighborhood deli. I think a lot of people love Joy. A lot of people love Bell's Bagels for different parts of their day, for different, experiences. And, the deli just wasn't on that block. And, we've seen the communities have this amazing response, because now it feels like there is just this neighborhood deli. And I think that in a lot of ways has been kind of the excitement around when we join a neighborhood, is people now feel like they have that in neighborhoods they hadn't before.
Yeah. I mean, I think every town I've ever lived in has been marked by, was there a good local sandwich spot or not? And sadly to say, the only place I can really think of that didn't hit that mark was when I was living in Austin in the early aughts. Just not the best. No disrespect to Thundercloud. But, I grew up in Philly, and you guys grew up in Jersey, and Jersey's got a great sandwich and deli culture. And you guys grew up in Montclair, which is a city that punches above its weight. How'd you guys meet? Was it over sandwiches? Did you guys have a local spot when you grew up?
I mean, there were sandwiches involved probably within hours of us meeting, or days at least.
Sure.
Noah, who's not here right now, but is here in every other experience that we have. Him and I grew up two doors down from each other. We met about 20 years ago. We were 8 years old. And then we met Max maybe 4 years later in sixth grade. So we've all known each other, about 20 years. And, our friendship, our childhood growing up in Montclair, very much centered around going to delis. I mean, we always make the joke, like we associated areas of Montclair based on the deli in that neighborhood. And there was a deli called Belgievines on Max's side of town on Bloomfield Avenue that we went weekly for a decade. And there were delis on the side of town Noah and I lived called the Watchung Deli and Cafe Claire and Rosario's. And there was just this collective of different delis around town that for different reasons we would show up at, whether it was after a sporting event, you were at the Watchung Deli, at lunch at high school, you went to Belgievines. There's all these different reasons to go to these delis, but the three of us went, I got to think, hundreds of times to go eat sandwiches together.
How many of them are still left? Because I know, the deli, especially on the East Coast, has gone through not diminishing in stature, but just diminishing in existence due to like high costs and things like that. How many of those are around when you go back home?
I mean, they're all around minus two of them. One being Watchung Deli, which I would probably say was our most beloved one growing up. And we absolutely love that place. And it's kind of funny. It wasn't for they didn't close because it wasn't going well. They just had been doing it for so long, and we're pretty much like, we're just not interested in doing this anymore.
Sandwich, I'm going to lose my mind.
And we don't really want to pass it on, so we're kind of just going to exit the game. Which was, depressing for all of us, but now that we're in the world of making sandwiches, I kind of get it. So we have a lot of respect for them.
Because nothing's worse than a sandwich spot that has quote unquote gone downhill, because no one wants to leave that legacy behind as a beloved spot of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost sweeter to remember what the food was like, and it's like the most prime years, and just remember it that way than like go back and try it now if it was still around and not have it be great. So,
and like truly, that deli in our hometown is like prolific. Like it is like the menu, the names of these sandwiches were celebrities like growing up there. Like the Angry Dwarf, the Sausalito turkey sandwich that they had that like we all were obsessed with, you know, at a young age. Like if you walk around Montclair now 4 or 5 years after they've closed and you talk about the Angry Dwarf or the Benny Mac or the Underground or the Zero or the Gary 3, everyone knows what you're talking about. Like doesn't matter who they are. It could be the teacher at the high school. It could be some guy's dad that works in New York City. Like everybody knows these sandwiches. And that was always so special for us, was like just this sandwich culture, like permeated through every inch of Montclair. And it stayed with us to this day, obviously.
It's interesting to hear about this local sandwich reputation and everyone in the town knowing these different sandwiches. Cause it's not that New Jersey doesn't have a sandwich culture. It's just not as well known. Can you guys talk about, what is sort of the hero staple sandwich of the Garden State?
I will argue too that I think the sandwich scene is better in New Jersey than it is in New York, and I'll argue that. I think New York has its beat with some pizza, but I think sandwiches in New Jersey are better. But I would say the good thing about New Jersey, and I think the thing that's the coolest about East Coast delis, is like you can kind of get whatever you want. You can go in there and make a veggie sandwich. You can always get a classic Italian. They got chicken parms. They got, things you can do with chicken cutlets, eggplant cutlets, like kind of the opportunities are endless. And I think that's kind of like the coolest part about the deli is you can eat a different sandwich every day for, the whole year. But I think probably just like the classics are the things that are, are New Jersey staples. Like I think the Italian is a big one. Jack, I don't know if you have any others that come to mind, but like for us, a lot of chicken cutlet sandwiches and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the beauty of it is a lot of people are going to have a different answer to that question. Right. But I think I tend to think about it as like there are some staple ingredients that I think are going to be characters on any of these sandwiches. Like it's going to be a breaded chicken cutlet. It's going to be a breaded eggplant cutlet, maybe a marinated eggplant. Balsamic grilled chicken was on a number of the sandwiches we loved. Roasted red peppers, homemade mozzarella, prosciutto, very thinly sliced. You can almost see through it. Like there's all these like kind of like nods that you see on our menu too. And I think what we've seen is like, there's a lot of people that come into Ggiata and will say, oh, the meatball parm, like this is what I grew up eating. Or like, oh, the balsamic grilled chicken, roasted red peppers and mozzarella, like that's what I grew up eating. And I think I would say there probably isn't one right answer to the question. And I think that's okay. I think that like everyone's supposed to have a different sandwich that they loved growing up. And, Max is a vegetarian. Like, so we're going to have two very different answers to that question.
I mean, when I think of customization and sandwiches and growing up in that area, I always think of Wawa. I think that was really the first time I got to say my sandwich, however I want it. I mean, I order the same thing every time, but theoretically I could get whatever I want. Was Wawa playing a part in your childhood and growing up, or were you just sticking to the classic local delis?
It was local heavy, but like if you went down the shore or something like that to visit some friends or family, Wawa for sure. And I think that's like a thing with everybody. Like once you kind of come up with your own custom sandwich, it feels a little bit special and you kind of only get that. But I think like that's the nice part of being able to build your own sandwich.
Yeah, I think, Darren, that is like a giveaway statement. You're from Philly, because when we grew up, Wawa was South Jersey. The real estate team hadn't brought them up north yet. So like if you were getting Wawa, you were at the Jersey Shore, or you played a sport that you had to be in South Jersey, you'd get on the highway on the way home. But I also think like we had this spot called Quick Check in North Jersey that like they're now in gas stations. They weren't at that time. They were just big convenience stores. And you could go there at 3 a.m. and get like a deli sandwich that was like pretty solid and like it was impressive, honestly. Like you would never walk into a establishment like that. Like, oh, they're going to like slice some fresh meat and get you going. And they would. and we loved it. We'd be there 2 a.m. like every night of the weekend in high school.
You know, so much of your childhood and friendship seems to be built around sandwiches. And I know that a lot of the origins of Ggiata didn't come till you moved to LA, but I have to imagine at some point, maybe it was over a 3 a.m. sandwich that you guys are talking like, wouldn't it be cool if we had our own sandwich shop these days, one day in the future?
Yeah, we definitely, the idea of doing something, I think honestly, we were probably more fit to do something in like nightlife than probably in food, because none of us are chefs or are even very talented with food to begin with. Noah is definitely the most talented. But like it really became apparent when we moved out here because we just couldn't find what we grew up on. I mean, it was like one of those things, like it kind of felt like the norm back home that there was good sandwiches everywhere. So it wasn't something that you even really thought about. But as soon as we came here, there's a lot of unbelievably delicious sandwiches in LA, don't get me wrong, but just not what we grew up on. So
it's one of those things like when you look back on your life, you can connect the dots and it all feels like it all makes sense. Like when we had these conversations, like, yeah, of course the three of you opened a sandwich shop, but like growing up, I don't think we had that conversation a single time. Like, I think we all fantasized about being in business together one day. Like, I think we knew we were very enterprising as a group of friends to begin with. So like the idea of us finding something entrepreneurial together, that made perfect sense. I just don't think we knew exactly what the medium would be. But now looking back, it's like, yeah, we were sandwich obsessed, but that felt normal growing up. So we weren't like in our heads like, oh, this is so differentiated. We needed to leave where we were from, go into a new city where it felt special again. And then we kind of like rediscovered it together. That's kind of how I think about it now.
I love it. All right, let's take a quick musical break. I want to talk about coming back to your time when you first moved to LA, when the idea started to kick around. How you opened the new spot in Highland Park and what one can expect on the stereo when they come in to the restaurant. We have a song from the archives here on Snacky Tunes on HRN. Welcome back to Snacky Tunes. We're here with Max and Jack, co-owners of Ggiata. Shout out to Noah, who's the third member. So you all move out to LA together in 2018. You're missing the Jersey style sandwiches you grew up with. Most people would be like, well, I'm just going to have to wait until family holidays to get that when I go home and see my family. How did you take that missing and start turning it into a business?
It's kind of started with a lot of probably drunk conversations and thoughts. And then we started getting a little bit more serious about it. We kind of like, we're really like, wow, this could really work. So we started doing a lot of deli tours and kind of just like breaking down what we thought was good, what we could do better, all of those things. And then as we got closer to really thinking it was a real idea, we flew back to New Jersey and we convinced the deli manager that we grew up knowing for like years since we were kids to come out to LA and tell us if we were crazy or not. So we flew him out here. He came, tried a bunch of the sandwiches, and he was like, this is not like home. You guys got to do this. And I think after he left, we started taking it really serious from there. Jack, you might have more memory on that than I do, but
shout out Gerard, who was the manager that came out. Like, and this guy, when we talk about the best delis in our hometown, he worked at like all three, half the menu he came up with. So for us, this was like the deli god. Like if Gerard came out to LA and agreed with this thesis, the three of us were like, all right, we need to take this a little more seriously. So exactly like Max said, he flew out for the weekend. We took him to a bunch of spots. We opened up the sandwiches. We were talking about the ingredients. And after that weekend, it kind of became a little bit more front and center. And like, that was probably the beginning of 2019 when he came out. By the summer of 2019, we were all still working, kind of corporate jobs. And I remember, beginning of that summer, Noah calls me and Max. He's like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go work at Ggiata for 6 months before we open. So, I have a little bit more of an understanding of how to operate a restaurant. And at that point in time, Max and I were like, nope, don't do it. Like, don't do it. Like, we were like, so, still feeling like it was in this like discovery ideation phase. And fortunately for us, Noah wouldn't take no for an answer, and he like quit his job the next week. And before we know it, he's working at Ggiata, getting his bearings, in the restaurant space, which turned out to be an incredibly pivotal decision for us. And I don't know that Ggiata is where it is today if Noah doesn't make that decision in June 2019. I think you look back at any founding story, somebody is the like day one eternal optimist, and that was for sure Noah. And so for that reason, we will always be thankful that Noah took that jump, because I think it motivated me and Max to really kind of take the jump too. And so that was 2019 was, Noah working at Ggiata, and then on the nights and weekends we're coming together and trying to continue kind of hardening this vision for what we feel like an East Coast, New Jersey inspired Italian deli needs to be in LA. We had a plan to be a food truck, which fortunately went away, but
Yeah, the food truck thing, I mean, a sandwich food truck isn't a bad idea, but I think people need to know that it's a neighborhood spot that's always going to be there, and they just know that they can go get their sandwich when they want it. I know you started in ghost kitchens, but was the idea to always have brick and mortar and always have just a storefront, even if you couldn't sit down in them fully like you now have with Highland Park? But what, was that always the plan, just to be like, we're here, we're permanent, we're part of the neighborhood?
Yeah. I mean, I think even when we first started, we were better brand builders than we were like restaurant operators or, chefs or any of those things. So I think we were always looking towards wanting to have a place where you could come and experience what we were trying to build, which like the brand was really heavily built on like nostalgia and what we kind of grew up on. So I think that was always a really important part. And thank God we transitioned out of that cloud kitchen, because we had so many people who would show up thinking we were a restaurant and be really disappointed to come and have that experience. But yeah, we always do, like, the community part of the deli is one of the most important parts for us. So having a space where people could come and meet and really experience it in person was like always on the top of the list for us.
Yeah, and like the cloud kitchen format was opportunistic more than anything. It was the middle of the pandemic when we opened, and at that point we had no choice. If we were going to try to test this market, try to figure out if Ggiata had some legs, we had to do it in a cloud kitchen. And looking back, I think, it actually kind of served as an advantage to us because we learned a lot about how to market the brand well in social media, because that was our storefront for 6 months. We were hidden in a ghost kitchen. We had to be, savvy digital marketers. And, I think we also learned a lot about what the very fast changing digital delivery landscape was for restaurants. We were kind of born into that format when every other restaurant was trying to take a format that was built for the more analog style of business for the last 100 years and then shift overnight into this very different format of doing business. And I think the timing worked well, and that I think we learned a lot about how to do delivery well from day one.
Yeah. So you open up these spots on the West Side, and for anyone who doesn't really live in LA or is familiar with it, it really is just a neighborhood spot. And no matter how great a sandwich spot might be in Mar Vista, if I live in Silver Lake, the chances of me driving over there are zero. Maybe if I have an appointment over there, I'll go over. So what makes you start thinking about the East Side? Since you're already concentrated on the West Side, I assume that you just keep opening up stuff, on the other side of the 405. But why start looking as far east as Highland Park?
Well,
I think for us also, we are probably the small exception of people who do travel like crazy for food. Like we have a lot of fun just going all over the city to be able to try a bunch of different restaurants that we're excited to try. So I think, the longer we've been here, the more we've gotten to explore some other neighborhoods. And I think a lot of people our age are starting to, live and move and work more east. And I think we started spending. Joy was probably the first thing that brought us out to that neighborhood of Highland Park. And then I think from there, we just started, really starting to love just spending time in neighborhoods around Highland Park. So I think when a space came available, we were like, should we do this? And then one thing led to another, and we signed on in, and here we are. But I don't know if you have a different take on it, Jack, but I think that's kind of what started getting us over there to the East Side.
Yeah, I was going to say also, like, our first store in East Hollywood is pretty east. Like, we're right on the border of Silver Lake. So, like, we were kind of rooted out there from day one. And I think to all the reasons Max just mentioned, the three of us, like, our personal lives at night in terms of dining, the bars we like to go to, they're all on the East Side. We live on the West Side, and we have our Venice store, but the majority of our time is East Hollywood or further east. And I think the other thing too, when you think about the ethos of Ggiata, is, we love these like very kind of like neighborhood community feeling blocks. And there's just so many interesting communities on the East Side. Like Highland Park is an amazing example, Altadena, Echo Park. All these great, very trendy, interesting residential spots. And I think those are some of the things that really kind of jive well with what we're trying to build. And so I think for that reason, there's probably more for us to do on the East Side, just based on the markets that exist there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really great to have these spots driven by the neighborhood and knowing that you're sort of building them around a community that's there, then working within that community to support it and provide jobs and sandwiches and have a specific vibe. When you opened up in Highland Park and you knew it was going to be more of a restaurant, how much did the neighborhood, how much did that area influence like the design and the sandwiches and the menu? How are you going to integrate yourself so it felt like you were there more than just now it's only been a few weeks, but you felt like you've been part of the neighborhood for a long, long time? Yeah,
I mean, for us, I think the first place we went is like kind of, again, back to like our origin and where we're from, and like how would a deli open up in a place like Montclair? And I think for us, we started thinking about a lot of places we grew up going and loving, and we're like, how could we, like kind of pay homage to that and replicate it here? And I think in an area like Highland Park, and especially on York, where there's people walking around, there's a lot of young families, we wanted to have an experience where somebody could come and sit there and actually enjoy the food there, where some of our other locations are a little bit more like to-go centric. So we wanted this one to have a deli feel, but also kind of be a little bit kind of like a diner, which New Jersey is kind of like the home of the diner as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once we kind of committed to the idea of that being the case, we then were like, well, if that's going to be the case and people are going to be able to sit at the counter and eat or sit at a table and eat, we need to be able to prepare the food on plates for people to enjoy there.
Yeah.
And that kind of dictated that decision.
Yeah. I mean, when you walk in, as I did yesterday, it just feels, you could feel the energy. There's people sitting down, there's food coming out of the kitchen, there's people behind the counter. You see the cold drinks, you see the cookie, it's got that very familiar, especially as an East Coaster, vibe and feeling when you walk in, which is tough to nail unless you, I guess, are from that area and you're able to recreate it, because you can go in there and fine tweak those little things. And I'd love to talk about, now that you've been open, let's say it's a Saturday, late brunch, early lunch. What's the vibe? Is it a line out the door? What's on the stereo? What can people expect when they're coming in?
I mean, if you're showing up at late lunch, it's going to be packed. It's been a very busy weekend crowd there, and I think the biggest difference with this store to our other stores is at maybe our West Hollywood store, there's going to be a line of drivers and a line of people just waiting to pick up their order and go. And at Highland Park, there's a line of people just waiting to sit, which is really the big difference in kind of how this store exists. And I think we've really done very little delivery at all out of the store, in part just because the in-store has just been so busy, and that's our priority. If you're coming to eat with us and we have enough people where we don't need to do delivery, we won't. And that's kind of been the approach with Highland Park, is it's been a very in-person centric dining experience. And I think the one thing that was special about the store was we really invested in the audio, that, we put very, very great speakers around all the different corners of the restaurant. So the sound really is so great in there. And this has been something that, we've always been excited about, is the idea of having playlists that go, into all the stores. And initially they were kind of developed by, Noah, myself, and Max, and they've evolved over time as our staff has gotten hold of the Spotify account and added to it. But, you'll hear anything from like Thames and Burna Boy to like the 90s hip hop that the three of us grew up listening to. There's moments where, if you go in there earlier in the day and the kitchen still got music playing, it's Bad Bunny and Rosalia. Like, there's such a range to the sounds you'll hear in Ggiata. But I think at the lunch crowd, you're probably hearing, you could hear anything from G Unit to like, there might even be like a Charlie XCX song on if somebody younger on the team has gotten hold of that playlist.
If I get in there, I put the old school, the little Bobby Caldwell, Curtis Mayfield, try to make the vibes a little bit more chill. But they push me to the back now. I'm not allowed in the front anymore because I try to slow it all down. But there's a wide range.
Max keeps a line long, talks to everybody.
I mean, listen, you could do worse things than show up 9 a.m. when the doors open, cup of coffee, egg sandwich, and like ease into your day there. It's a chill vibe in the mornings. Well, listen, congratulations. If people want to swing by, grab a sandwich, grab some merch, where can they go? How can they do they make a reservation, get order online? Or if they just want to follow along for the specials, what's the best way to do it?
Well, I think if you're coming by Saturday at noon, our recommendation is to always call ahead or order ahead. Yeah. Because the reality is our team works so hard to get food out as fast as possible. But in the midst of the lunch rush, it's just busy. So that is just the pro tip. And for the record, we were doing that same thing growing up. So maybe that's just ingrained in our head. We were always calling into the deli. And we love phone orders. We'll always take orders over the phone. We think that's a big part of the business.
That's classic.
And then, and then in terms of the merch and all the things we have going on, there's a lot of different merch throughout our stores. But at the Highland Park store right now, we have an exclusive capsule we did with the guys at Market that is a hat, a t-shirt, and then our staff aprons that you'll see exclusively at that store for now.
Those hats are Awesome. I saw one out last night in the wild, industry only. It was great to see.
I love that. We'll have to get you one of the hats.
I think I know who was it Justin from Anajack wearing it?
It was not Justin. It was just a hat in the wild. I saw those tomatoes and that blue, and I was like, oh, I know that hat.
We need to figure. Somehow Justin had the hat before we had the hat, so we got to figure out how he got it. But
yeah, we showed up at dinner and he had our hat on. We were like, what is going on right now?
From the market guys. I got to say, I went there. I didn't see any hats. I was hoping for another reorder. Maybe we could talk offline about that.
We'll get you one.
Congratulations. Big shout out to Kate for setting this up. We have another song from the archives and then a live performance here on Snacky Tunes on HRN.
Put me to the test, girl. I'm under arrest. No, we won't sleep till the streets are clean and the levee broke now. We got fire before smoke somehow. The results are in. Negatives are positive, 'cause I'm a prisoner of love. When it rains, it pours. Oh, when I toughen up now, you'll take me back in your arms. Put me behind bars. No more living large, girl. We're flirting with danger. Whoa. Dancing with strangers. Now it's just you and me, girl. Inmate number 715-203. Yeah, you will be my captor. Sunshine, my big time, my laughter. 'Cause I'm a prisoner of love. Whoa. When it rains, it pours. Oh, when I toughen up now, you'll take me back in your arms. Prisoner, yeah, I'm a prisoner of love. It's raining, it's pouring so hard. Yeah, we're not coming out now. No. Talk ain't always cheap now. I made a promise that I'm gonna keep somehow. Show you what I'm made of. A little prisoner, no prisoner, yeah, prisoner, prisoner of love. Whoa, whoa. When it rains, it pours. Yeah, when I toughen up now, won't you take me back in your arms? Prisoner of love, just a little prisoner of love. Toughen up now. Won't you take me back in your arms?
Whether you're a chef or just love going to restaurants, you know the best ingredients are everything, especially when it comes to beef. In Northern Australia, there's a different approach to raising high-quality beef. Westholme, based in Queensland and Northern Territory, is working with the land to create nature-led Australian Wagyu. Westholme stewards 16 million acres of rangeland guided by their natural ecosystem. They're led by a belief that if they balance the needs of their cattle with the needs of the environment, both can thrive. West Home's team of rangeland experts and nature managers use a variety of tools to monitor and respond to the welfare of the environment, like satellites that assess grass health and on-the-ground research. Cattle are happier when they have the freedom to forage and explore, so West Home ensures that they can roam wild, foraging at will for the first 2 to 3 years of their lives. Their cows graze on native grasses like Mitchell grass, which is only found in Australia, along with dozens of other plants, herbs, and seasonal legumes. The result is a high-quality Wagyu beef that reflects the terroir of Northern Australia and a flavor suited to complement any cuisine. West Home believes that when nature leads, flavor follows. Learn more at westhome.com.
We want to welcome Zambri to the studio. Welcome, girls.
Hello.
You want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Christy Jo. I'm Jessica.
And sisters.
Yes, indeed.
What are the ages?
Ooh.
Oh, I was like,
No.
How many years apart then?
Whatever. I'm 28. I'm 30.
Oh, okay, we're 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey. And we're twins, so, you know.
Yeah, so are we sometimes, depending upon what you read.
Oh, really? What do they say?
Twins from Brooklyn, Zambri.
And you're like,
And I live in the West Village, but I live in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Half Brooklyn.
Outsider, huh?
I know.
West Village?
I know. I feel left out right now.
I mention your dad grew up here.
That's true. Yes, it's true. Our dad grew up in Williamsburg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Devue, he calls it.
What does he tell you, like way back when stories and all that stuff?
Yeah, he actually took me. I live a few blocks from there now, so he took me on a tour, like maybe a week ago. Showed me his elementary school, and I've been on this tour before, but it's nice to get it, like every
little bit of relevance.
Right. Yeah.
So let's go back, as we like to do, to the history of Zambri, and this can go as opposed to when did you two meet? I have an idea around the time.
Choose two.
I would say 84, maybe is around when you met. But how did you two begin writing music together, and has it been since forever, or was it something that's more recent?
I think it's forever. I mean, we just started writing some of our own tunes when we were like in third grade or so, and they're buried around somewhere. And we've just sort of been doing different types of childhood expression ever since.
What are the early demos sound like?
They're broken and pulled the cassette tape.
What were the subject matter of these early demos?
Oh.
Deep stuff.
They were probably well, actually, yeah. We had this one song. I was telling the story yesterday that we played. I think maybe like 13 and 15, and we played this theater in the West Village in like the window booth. And someone came up to us. It was like a very deep political song. And someone said, "That's my favorite song since Hey Jude." And we were like, "What?" We're like, no, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
We're like, I will always remember that and tell that story forever.
So then when did Zambri become Zambri?
We just released our first, I don't know. Zambri's been...
Because I saw you 4 years ago in Chinatown at CMJ, and it was a big rock act.
Yeah, it's been changing about, but I guess like we started playing more with different types of bands, like when we were in college, and that was like.
You girls go to school together?
For a little bit, we did. We went to Boston up there for a second.
Where in Boston?
Yes. Yeah, just. Where do you go for a year as a musician?
Oh,
Berkeley.
Boston College.
One of them. Yeah.
You go to Berkeley.
But so we've been sort of playing out, but we've been playing out since we were teenagers in New York.
Same name the entire time?
Yeah, we thought we'd confuse everyone by having a lot of
MySpace
under one
followers.
name. That's a lot of MySpace. We, oddly enough, have a ton of MySpace.
No, I know. You want one name. You just keep it up for all the years.
Just keep rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
They might not have logged in for 5 years, but at one point they were there. So went to Berkeley, and then you came back.
Right. Came here, started booking shows before we had a band because we figured that'd be the way to rally some people, and made a lot of mistakes along the way and learned, and we released our first EP in late 2009 called Glossolalia, and then was that 2010? I don't know. Yeah, 2010, sorry. And then we just a few months ago released our first album, House of Bassa, so.
On K9.
Yeah, K9 Records.
Leo was the one who told me about you.
Yeah, Leo.
But let's go back. What are some of the mistakes that you made?
Probably just playing in coffee shops.
That's not a mistake. That's not a mistake.
I think it's what we played in the coffee shops that we find to be a mistake.
No, I don't know. I mean, I think we first started playing just with the keyboard because that's kind of what we learned, one of our first instruments, and we quickly realized that wasn't necessarily representative of what we were hearing in our heads. And
full circle back to keyboards.
Right.
Yeah, and now we're back there, but we do a lot of programming, and now we've learned how to use more than one tool. So
okay, let's hear a song.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so we got Zambri, real family affair here today on Snacky Tunes.
Who's the charming Sandman that's with us today?
This is Noel from Hooray for Earth, who's doing some sound for us right now.
Noel, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, hooray for Noel. All right, here we go. Zambri live on Snacky Tunes.
And if I could describe this, there's a necklace with 3 microphones attached to it, which I'm going to take a photo of for Snacky Tunes Instagram, but it's pretty amazing.
Oh, my necklace.
What's the name of the first song you're going to play?
The first song is called Heather. It's from our EP Glossolalia.
Okay.
Ready, Chris?
Not supposed to be
Woo. Dreamy. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it is.
So what's it like traveling as sisters? You two get along?
No.
No?
Yeah, we get along. We really do. We get along like sisters. We're
sitting on
yell at each other,
right
and
now.
then we hug.
Yeah, you like freak out at each other and be like, "Do you want to go get a sandwich?"
Yeah.
That's how we work together.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about being in bands and doing outside projects is that, you know, you have people who grew up with different influences and different musical tastes come together to create something that's like incredibly dynamic. So how do you two keep introducing new ideas into the group, considering that you probably grew up with the same shared history?
It's interesting, actually. I think that it's quite the opposite. It's you know, you have these crazy different ideas, and it's bringing them together. Because we grew up together, but we have, of course, we listen to different things and have, you know, the timing of what we're inspired by doesn't hit us at the same times necessarily. So you're always kind of introducing new things to each other, and sometimes it takes a little while to get on board. Like, we'll be like, yeah, what you said like 4 months ago, I love that idea.
What's the each of you, same question, what's the one thing that the other one listening to growing up, you're like, I can't believe you listened to that, it's so terrible?
Oh, I don't think I want to. I don't even want to think about that.
Okay. We ask really probing questions on Snacking Tunes.
What about when it comes time to eat? Who's the leader in making decisions on where to eat, when to eat, all that type of stuff? And what do you like to eat?
We're Italian, so
I will try anything.
We like to overeat, really. But the thing is that Christy will take, like, if we're out to eat, she will take her time figuring it out.
I can't make decisions.
Yeah,
really.
when it comes to food menu, I'm just like, let's go, like, order something, and she's there, and then finally the waiter comes around, and she's like, so I'm thinking about this, but I'm thinking about that.
What's your favorite?
She's like a mental breakdown always.
Every time.
It's really
That
difficult.
seems really
And movies are hard for me to choose too.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want someone just to make the decision, or
Yeah, I think it's because whoever I'm with, I'm like, oh, whatever makes you happy, because I don't actually care.
And then you give her a decision, she strongly cares. So that's the twist about her.
Is that true? Not about movies.
All right, well, whatever.
Maybe.
We're gonna step away from the sister fight right now. Yeah, we're gonna pull it back.
Do you cook? Do you make Italian food?
No.
I'm bad at it.
Mother, grandmother, father, anyone?
They all cook
They
so
do.
well, so it's gonna happen. It's just not.
What's the specialty of the family?
My dad makes us his la moglia, which is like tomatoes,
His dish.
crushed garlic, and he crushes it around with his tool that he uses, the crusher, and it smells like amazing. And
My mom makes everything else.
I mean, we grew up like sort of like Sunday dinners around 2 p.m., like pasta, the red sauce, the gravy, sat around for hours in the pot, and we were lucky enough to eat it at the end.
So growing up did you grow up in New York?
Long Island.
In Long Island. How did you start booking shows for yourself in the city?
We have older siblings, and one of our sisters was running a theater at the time, so she'd be like, well, why don't you come around and play, in the window?
I have this Hey Jude story if you want to hear it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I haven't quite heard it. Actually, if you want to hear the Hey Jude story, just reverse 5 minutes in the podcast.
Hit that 30-second wheel back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she would help us out for sure, and then eventually we'd play a show or two there, and then people that would listen to us there would be like, oh, we're doing this benefit here, and, kind of just built a spider web of friends.
So by growing up here, do you feel like you just know all the venues, all the bookers?
We know quite a few at this point, for sure, yeah.
But I don't think it's from growing up here, really. Because I feel like when we moved to New York... Yeah, when we moved to New York after Boston for that year, we didn't feel like we're a New York band and everybody knows us and everybody's like, we felt like, visiting.
Very Long Island.
We were
still
visiting.
felt very Long Island. We're like, oh, we're just Long Islanders hanging out here.
Have you heard that song Long Island by That Dog?
No.
All right, we'll go to you. Let's hear another song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hear another song. It's a great song.
What's it about?
About a dreamy boy from Long Island. You might like it. It's very 90s.
I like that.
Yeah, we'll get it your way. So here we go, Zambri,
What's the next song?
Ickbees, say it. Or somebody can say it. It's called Ickbees.
Ickbees.
Ickbees. Oh, sorry. Ickbees.
All right, here we go. Zambri live on Snacky Tunes.
Awesome. That is a jam.
That's a jam. That's a big one.
That is everything okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's coming up for the rest of the summer? I guess can we start talking about fall? Is it too soon?
Oh my God, yes, let's talk about it.
Okay. What's going on?
Yeah, you seem to have
Fall beers, that's actually the thing. We're all about fall beers. Honestly, it's the fall is about food and drink.
Yeah.
I think he meant with us.
Oh, right, us. We're gonna go on tour. Pretty much the whole of September.
Where are you heading?
We're going to be doing the U.S. We're going to do, like East Coast, Chicago, and Cleveland and stuff, and we're going to make our way over to L.A. And so we're going to be doing some of that stuff, which is nice.
For some reason, I just had like a vision of the two of you in like a 1990 gray 4-door sedan with just like keyboards in the back. I know you have a full band, but I'm just saying,
right.
Like Sisters Road Trip.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, we've always talked about doing that.
It's romantic.
It's very romantic.
Yeah,
We love drums. We love live drums, though.
Yeah, they don't really fit in the back of sedans.
No, they don't.
Talk about the makeup of your band, because it seems like for this and the record, you enlisted a lot of outside Brooklyn help, or some outside Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, we had our friend Seth Casper, who plays drums in our live band, and he's one of the best drummers alive. And he came around and added his stuff. And we worked with Rick Kwan, who he mixed the entirety of our album. He's Brooklyn-based. Rick's great. And we also messed around with Chris Cody for a couple tracks. And so, I mean, it's been a happy Brooklyn
Noel
family.
here played on some of it.
Oh, yeah, Noel from Hooray for Earth.
Noel, what did you do on the record?
That's it.
What did you do on the record?
He
You sang some? Here,
A little
speak.
bit. Oh, you played some drums on that was more the EP.
I just did whatever they said. They're like, we want a bass, but I don't feel like playing it. And I'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
Like the catch-all? Is that just like your title on the record?
Yeah, but just,
We need some wind chimes.
We feel like ordering some around. Can you be around? No, that's quite the opposite.
We snuck our other live band member, Will Spitz. We snuck him. He joined kind of as we finished, but we snuck him on the last track.
Yeah,
Just to say that he was part of it?
Well,
just whatever.
We just like
for the love of it.
We like family.
Yeah, family's great.
Yeah, Will's fantastic, and it's sort of the deal.
Any city that you're particularly interested in hitting up on this upcoming tour?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Chicago again. I haven't been there in a while.
Chi-Town.
Yeah, for real.
Hang out with Kanye, Lil Yeezy.
Yeah, we have an
Eat some hot dogs.
We have an appointment with him, so
Of course.
we'll be doing that. And I always like to go visit LA, especially like this sort of time of year. It's kind of nice.
Do you get time to explore while you're on the road?
Not really.
Not at all.
Maybe a bite.
I haven't been to most of the places that we're going, so it's pretty exciting for me.
You got to do like one thing just to know that you're in that city.
Differentiate.
Well, that's what I've been asking everyone I know in each place. Actually, it's weird. It's oddly, it's mainly food based. I'm like, so what do I need to eat there? Because I'm probably gonna have one meal.
Given your situation, you're gonna have to like map this out well in advance.
Well, Chicago, it's steak, right? Steak.
Hot dog?
What do I say to
Hot
like
dog.
not increase the indecision? Sure, steak.
Exactly.
Or pizza or a hot dog.
You're not helping.
No.
The deep dish pizza.
You gotta go to Uno's in Chicago.
Oh yeah, okay.
I wouldn't have steak in Chicago. I would have a hot dog, or I'd have deep dish pizza.
Really?
New York is steak.
We're just literally ruining the tour. She's just gonna be stuck in Chicago, like with a menu in each hand. Like I have no idea what I'm supposed to
And
do.
we're gonna leave her on the side of the road. Just
everything was
dial her
good.
in.
Yeah.
All right, so before we have one last song, how can people find you online? Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Everything is just /Zambri, Zambri.
Googleable.
Quickly though, how did you come up with the name?
We searched our brains and we were like, what are we gonna?
Yeah, but
do?
and how old were you though?
We were little, man.
Yeah.
We were like 5th grade, yeah. And our dad was like, you should do this out of respect for the family.
It's our last name.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's the short answer.
Oh, sorry. I thought.
Well, but there's a huge mythological story.
There is around the album. There is.
Yeah.
There's other Zambris, and some of them are quite.
We were
scary,
Googling. We were Googling Zambri, and this one sentence kept coming up. Zambri destroys the House of Bassa, and at first we didn't really know what it was, but we were like, that's fun.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then we learned about it, and we were like, I don't really, it's a kind of crazy story.
It's crazy. Well, I mean, it's something for you to Google while we hear the last song.
Right.
Read it. Yeah, read it while you listen to the last song. What are you going to take us out with?
This is a song called To Keep Back.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, thank you so much to Ben, Brooklyn Brewery.
Don't forget to vote.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to Zambri.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week. I'll be in San Francisco this weekend for the Noisette.
We'll both be there.
Treasure Island, People, Noise Pop are putting on a food and music festival. It's going to be really great. Yeah, just search Noisette, NOISETTE for all information. Super pumped. Here we go.
Tickets are on sale. Here we go.
Tickets are on sale. Here we go. Bye. See you next week.
talk about food, we talk about music with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, Snacky Tunes.
Snacky Tunes is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.